Thanks for joining us. I'm Aaron Wright. First at 10, President Trump hospitalized. Marine One flew him to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center this evening, where he will stay for the next few days. This comes after the president announced he and the First Lady Melania tested positive for the coronavirus. We have team coverage tonight on the latest developments on the president's condition, the experimental treatment he's undergoing that has ties to San Antonio, and reaction from the local and national level. Christina Ruffin starts our coverage from Walter Reed.
President Trump was flown from the White House to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center on Friday to be treated for the coronavirus. The White House says the president will spend the next few days there out of an abundance of caution. Before he left the White House, the 74-year-old president tweeted a brief video statement.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well.
CBS News has learned President Trump is experiencing mild symptoms, including a low-grade fever. The president did not go to the emergency room here at Walter Reed, but went instead directly to the presidential suite. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows spoke to reporters earlier in the day.
He continues to be not only in good spirits, but very energetic.
The president's doctor says he is fatigued and has been given a Regeneron antibody cocktail. Campaigning in Michigan, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, who has tested negative since the news broke, offered prayers and well wishes.
The news is a reminder that we as a nation need to do better in dealing with this pandemic.
During the first debate Tuesday, Biden and the president shared the stage for 90 minutes. While the president stays at the medical center, his COVID-19 infection has raised questions of who else might have been exposed. After presidential aide Hope Hicks tested positive on Wednesday, White House officials deemed it safe for President Trump to attend a fundraiser in New Jersey on Thursday. Christina Ruffini, CBS News, Bethesda, Maryland.